So pretty thin on the ground at the moment, aren't they? Very, very busy earlier on today. And somebody who was fizzing, as I've said earlier on in the last hour, Bill Cash, Conservative MP and a prominent Eurosceptic. He's with us now. Hello.
OK.
Why are you so cross?
Well, it's accumulative. I've been complaining and criticising with justification about, ever since Chequers, I was completely behind the government on the Withdrawal Act. I helped them enormously to get it through. Well, I even drafted the first draft of the withdrawal bill itself back in June, before the referendum. But when we got it to the Withdrawal Act itself, and people like Ken Clarke voted for it,
yeah.
And many others as well, who are now trying to reverse or rejoin the,
Sure.
the European Union, whatever. And then we got into the withdrawal agreement, and then I studied it very carefully, because I'm chairman of the European Scrutiny Committee. And what it does is effectively to drive a coach and horses with a backstop through the Northern Ireland constitutional status. Then on top of that, it actually will enable other countries, by majority vote, to force laws on the United Kingdom which we will not be able to veto. So for practical purposes, we become literally subjugated to these other countries. So you've got all these different things coming together. Moreover, part of the arrangements would, if the customs union came through, for example, we wouldn't be able to trade globally. So there are so many things. And in fact, this morning, I established that there were two contradictory motions on the order paper. It gets a bit technical, so I won't be technical, but actually what it did was to effectively say that we would not be able to vote on the regulations that came through as a result of this abject surrender last night. And I said it was an abject surrender, and that's what it was. What we've been doing for the last year is constantly supplicating the European Union, supplicating them, almost asking them, in many cases asking them, well, what would you prepare to live with? And these aren't negotiations, this is surrender. And that is the problem. And so as far as I was concerned, the last straw was what happened last night.
What's your take on what Bill has been saying in the chamber? You've met Rob before, of course,
yes,
I'm
I have,
sure.
Of course. Yeah, hi, Rob. I'll just move around a bit.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, Theresa May was trying to present some of this as a win. She was trying to say some of these restrictions that could have possibly been put on.
How can an own goal be a win?
Yeah, but it could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Emmanuel Macron wanted more restrictions on us not tinkering around with EU business.
Tom, this is very comparative talk. No, the reality is that it is an abject surrender. In fact, it was quite clear. I mean, you've got people like Tusk, to whom I wrote yesterday when I said that I thought that the whole of their arrangements were unlawful. That's another story altogether. We'll pursue that one at another time. But basically saying, don't waste our time. I mean, who do these people think they are? Talking to the British people like that, talking to our Parliament like that.
I don't think they were talking to the British people, they were talking to MPs.
No, they weren't.
Because you haven't voted for anything yet.
No, that's not true. I've been voting consistently to demonstrate why we stand up for the democratic decision of the British people, standing up for our democracy and for the votes that were cast by parliamentarians who themselves, some of my own colleagues working in collaboration with Corbyn, for example, who are actually reversing the votes that they cast in the Referendum Act itself, which is a sovereign act of the UK Parliament, which deliberately and exclusively transferred the right to the British people. Okay. They're now saying we're going to take it back. This is absolutely outrageous.
And you got on your feet and you said it was time for her to resign.
Yes, I did.
She's not going to.
Well, we'll see.
You were wasting your breath.
No, I'm afraid, Kay, that's not quite how it works.
Oh, OK. I thought you'd had a vote of confidence in her and she'd won.
No,
so
that was what happened then.
Yeah.
But actually, the accumulation, even since then, of anger in the country and in the grassroots of the Conservative Party has been growing exponentially. And the opinion polls in the Conservative grassroots have demonstrated this over and over again. So it's an accumulative sense of immense frustration. It does matter, actually.
Why does it matter?
I'll tell you why, very simply, because she is the Prime Minister of this country.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that abject surrender, as I described it yesterday, plus the absolutely outrageous nature of the withdrawal agreement, adds up to a position where
she said she's not going to, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, I wait and see. I should say that.
What are you planning?
Well, that's a good question to which I have an answer. I have a very good answer, but it's not one that I'm going to give you right now.
Why not?
Well, for a very simple reason, that these things have to be carefully worked through. And the bottom line is that the way things have been going, we've even been denied a proper debate and vote on the statutory instrument that sold us out last
So you
night.
and your ERG mates are going to...
No, I didn't say that.
OK, so you and some of your colleagues are going to oust her by subterfuge. That's what you're going to do?
No, it's not at all. Well, the fact that I'm not giving you on air every detail of what is in my mind, at any rate, and some other people as well, is something which you'll have to wait for. But what I will say to you is that right now, I called on her to resign because enough is enough. And that is the problem. We've got to that point. People all over the country are deeply angered by what happened in the middle of last night.
How many people in the House can you count on to support your move?
Well, I'm not going to make a... You see, when you ask people to resign, it doesn't mean to say that you do it because you've got a whole range of other people doing it at the same time.
But you did say there were others.
You have to... OK, you have to work...
Wait a minute.
You have to work these things out in terms of the question of principle that it represents. The Withdrawal Act says we repeal the 1972 Act from exit day. By extending the time, they're creating the circumstances by an abject surrender, which creates an enormous question mark over the whole viability of the Withdrawal Act.
But bottom line is, if she won't go, you're going to get rid of her by hook or by crook.
I would say, look, I've made my position clear, not just today.
You haven't, that's why I'm asking you.
No, I have indeed. No, I've said it many times.
What is your position?
My position is I think she should resign.
Yeah, but she's not going to.
No, but
what does that make your position then?
It makes my position one of principle and also, if I may say so, one of determination. That is the point. Yes, well, you can say that if you like, but you know, this has happened on many, many other occasions during our history. The reality is...
Give me an example.
Well, Robert Peel, for example.
OK.
Yeah, I mean, I could give you many. My family were involved in that back in those days in the 1840s.
Oh, you've got form.
Yeah, so, well, I'm afraid that may be the case, yes. But the bottom line is that and the same happened with David Cameron as well. And sometimes these things happen by steps. And I'm saying that there are steps, and that was one of them I took today.
So she needs to watch her back?
Well, no, I'm saying that this is a matter of principle and integrity, and I believe that's the right thing to do.
But she would say that she's using principle and integrity and taking all of the flack in order to try and get Brexit through.
But I'd say
whereas
it's not Brexit
you
at
are
all.
using subterfuge with some of your mates to try and get rid of her, when actually she's won a vote of no confidence already.
I couldn't be more transparent than I was today.
OK,
that's
so, well, I'm asking you follow-up questions, but you're not offering the answers.
No, but I'm telling you that
that's because you're being underhand.
I've said no, not at all.
Are you being underhand?
Not remotely. Can I say it's not my style, and I never have been. But can I
so how many people can you rely on to support you?
If you ask me that question again, I'll give you the same answer. Can I just make the point?
What is the
If you undermine the referendum result by creating circumstances through the withdrawal agreement in which we don't control our own laws, she herself said, we will not truly leave the European Union unless we regain control of our own laws. Those are her words. 100 times, she said, plus, that she would not go for an extension of time.
No Brexit is better than a bad Brexit. So, you know, she changes her mind. She's entitled to do that, isn't she?
Well, I'm afraid as a matter
depending on circumstance.
No, I simply disagree with that in terms of what is at stake in the national interest. What is in the national interest is to carry through the decision of the British people. She says she's doing that, and I say she's not. And she's not doing it for the reasons I've already set out. So it's a matter of principle and of practical impact on the referendum result.
Yeah, and now as far as you're concerned, she's going to get it.
Well, she certainly, I believe, should resign.
OK, thank you. That's another way of putting it, I suppose. It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Coming up on the programme for you in just